Welcome to the JP8 report with a 2026 election interview with Coryell County runoff Republican candidate for County Commissioner number 4, Justin Smith. Thank y'all very much for tuning in this afternoon for our interview with Justin. As we get started and we're ramping up everybody here, if you are watching the podcast, I invite you to click that follow button so you can get the JP8 report and give us a like. And don't forget to share it out when it's over so Justin can help him out a little bit with his campaign there. And then also, we have the live chat going. So if you want to ask Justin any questions during the podcast, please go ahead and ask us questions, okay? And we'll stop with our question and energize your questions and get you some answers for them, okay?
Absolutely.
So we got everything going. We're driving up the numbers.
Good to go.
Cool. All right. Welcome to the podcast.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on making it to the runoff.
Thank you.
Now you're in the major leagues.
Yeah.
Okay, you go from double A to the major. So
rubber meets the road here.
Yeah. Were you surprised that you made it into the runoff?
Not to sound overly confident, but no. I kind of figured I would make it to a runoff. I figured it would be me and Ray.
Y'all were pretty close on that between second and third place.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I think I barely beat out Keith Taylor, who's the current commissioner, and it was pretty close there.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, we're all friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
No matter
what. I've talked to all of them. I reached out to Ray I reached out to Keith and Carol afterwards, and we've kind of talked through everything. So,
well, so as we're getting started with everyone that doesn't know you, and now it's like a brand new campaign. Yeah. Give us a reintroduction about Justin Smith and what he stands for, why he wants to be a county commissioner.
Okay. I have lived in Coryell County almost my entire life. I took a little bit of a break, followed my wife to College Station when she was going to school there. So I was gone for about 6 years. But other than that little stint in College Station, I've lived in Coryell County my whole life. I am a sixth generation on my dad's side. We've been here pretty much since Coryell County was founded. I have always wanted to do good for my community. I've always wanted to positively impact the lives of as many people as I possibly can. When I was in College Station, I kind of briefly pursued a career in law enforcement that didn't end up working out for me due to various different things. But I just always have wanted to positively impact as many people as possible. And whenever this came up, I had a bunch of people asking me whenever I started getting involved in commissioners' courts, what I wanted to do or whether I had thought about running or not. And I really hadn't at that point, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought, this might be a good thing for me. It doesn't do me any good to go up here and complain about stuff. Why don't I get in and do something about it? So,
what do you do now?
I run a business. I run an IT business called Technically Better. It's just me. And every once in a while, I'll contract, family and friends out to help me with physical work, but it's just me in the business. I do security camera installations, networking, fix computers, phones, tablets, anything that plugs into the wall, pretty much I'll work on it. So, but I do have business experience running my own business, do all my own business taxes. I know how all that works. So.
Oh, that's cool. I had to give someone a block of instruction on what an RJ45 was every day. But that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
You got RJ11s, you got RJ45s, whole different world. Okay, guys?
Phone line, Ethernet, all of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. So we'll dive in there. I'm sure everyone's busy today and stuff. And you look like you want to get home and relax a little bit. So I got 4 different areas I want to talk to you about. Okay. And then we're going to start with maintenance backlog. Okay. For core infrastructure. What is your specific plan to address the maintenance backlog of county roads in Precinct 4 and how you'd prioritize the roads which need immediate attention?
So,
And if you want to include other roads besides just precinct 4, you can also.
right. So, well, and that's one of the things is that we don't run off of the same system. We used to run off of a system where each commissioner, kind of was in charge of their own precinct roads and whatnot. We run off of I think it's called a unit system now, where we have Justin Latham is the head of the Road and Bridge Department. He answers to the Commissioner's Court and he gives his reports at all of the meetings. So honestly, with me not having a whole lot of experience in Commissioner's Court as it stands, I think one of the big things that would help, from what I can see, is having a good relationship and getting out. And I feel like there's a good gap to be filled, getting out and having relationships with the people that work in the county, going out and talking to Justin, seeing his expert. He was hired in that job for a reason. So seeing what his thoughts are, but at the same time talking to the people in the county, saying, hey, if somebody calls up and says, my road's full of potholes, or it's degrading terribly, not delegating that and saying, well, somebody needs to go out there and look at it. Go out there yourself. I'll go out there and I'll look at it, and then I can go to Justin. And again, having a good relationship with him, that way I would be able to say, hey, I think this is an issue. It's a priority. It's something that needs to be done, probably, over something else that may not be in as bad a shape.
Okay.
So relationships are one of the big things that I think are lacking in like interdepartmental relationships.
Okay. One thing I did forget to ask was, were you, I know most people don't know, but you did go out of town for a while for some work, but were you back in town when the fire happened, or were you still out of town?
I was in Pennsylvania when that happened. Yeah.
Well, do you have anything you want to say about the fire?
So I do. I've thought a whole lot about that, and I had some people that had reached out, and they were talking. They were kind of throwing some shade my way for me not being there. There's not a lot I can do from 2,000 miles away in Pennsylvania, and honestly, I don't want to make it. I don't want to make it a political thing. I don't want to make it about me at all. I'm not the one affected by it. I know our community as a whole, especially like with the Messenger. The Messenger had archives for
decades.
Yeah, that are gone now, and they didn't have anything digital. So yeah, that's a huge loss. But at the end of the day, we got to keep going. We gotta, it's a terrible thing that it happened, but our community is full of great people, and I think we're very strong, and we'll get through it.
I was talking to someone the other day about put out a call and see who has back issues, because some people collect papers, believe me or not. Like if you would like to donate your old copies of the Messenger
right
back to the Messenger, they would appreciate that.
Yeah.
I got tons. I don't know if you watch my podcast at all, but we discovered in a box that my wife's dad put in a box, and she didn't know about it, and it's been in our garage for over 10 years. JFK's assassination newspaper from in Tulsa on November 22nd, 1963, the PM edition, right after it happened. And we have the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, and November 26th. All the Tulsa Tribune.
Wow.
All about JFK and Lee Harvey Oswald and LBJ and stuff. And we could not believe it. So people keep newspapers.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. And that'd be a good idea for the Messenger. Talk to Sam Houston.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, that's his name. But talk to Mr. Houston. Like, hey, put out a call and see who would be willing to donate back issues of the paper to help rebuild the archives. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be really
and
neat.
That's not a call of the commissioner. What you said, that's one of those, what do you call them?
Public service announcement.
Good fairy ideas.
Yeah.
Like, no. That's one thing we hated in the Army. Oh, my goodness, man. Oh, no. The good fairy, hard at work. Okay, so beyond property taxes, What alternative funding source or grant would you pursue to support bridge repairs and road expansion?
As far as specific grants, I honestly wouldn't be able to tell you. I don't have a whole lot of knowledge on that. I do know that there are a lot of like preventative. I think that there are like FEMA preventative grants that you can go for, so that you're not instead of getting a grant from FEMA after something has happened, terrible. They do actually provide preventative grants so that you are ahead of the curve, so your infrastructure is better prepared to deal with something before it happens. So I know that's some stuff that you can go after. Um, I really think that's one of the big things that we need to get into uh, as a county, as Commissioners Court, is to make sure that we are looking at problems that haven't happened yet. It's always better to be proactive than reactive. Now, problems are going to happen, and you will have to have, reactive solutions to some things. But a lot of them, if you just put a little bit of thought into it, little foresight, you can kind of see what's coming up, and that'll help you a whole lot in the long run.
So, with the community continued growth in Copper Cove, my hometown, how would you ensure that local infrastructure keeps up with the pace of new residential developments?
So there's a fine line there, to be tread, and I think that there's examples both ways that that can go bad. So you have to stay real narrow. But as far as making sure that the growth is controlled by the county and the city to a certain point, you don't want to inhibit. When you look at California, the reason California is in the state that it's in is because there are so many restrictions. There are so many, fees. It takes months and months and years to get, anything done there, because you have to go through all these, ridiculous processes to get anything done. But at the same time, you can't just let the growth go unchecked, because if you don't plan for the growth beforehand, then you end up in a situation where you've got too many people, not enough resources.
How much of Lutheran? Do you know how much Lutheran Church Road is county and how much is city?
I don't.
No, I know. I know it divides off.
Yeah, at a certain point.
Yeah, and they're about to build a brand new subdivision, and I believe it's already been annexed into Copper's Cove, a voluntary annex of land before they build houses.
Yeah.
But that road is still, I believe, a lot of that's still county road. And then after you pass it, you have a whole huge section that's all county. And but at the same time, with the roads and stuff, there's a lot of traffic goes on those roads, and it's going to affect people, county residents, not just city residents, but county residents also out there. And those roads are going to need to be repaired.
Right.
And it takes money.
Yeah. Way more maintenance whenever your traffic starts going up like that.
Oh yeah, man. And then that if you ever go, you go to city council meetings.
Yeah,
we've seen you at several. They get pretty heated. More so than some of the commissioner meetings and stuff.
Yeah.
You start talking about infrastructure and property taxes down here in Cove, you might run for the hills, not run for office. So if the county faces the budget shortfall, what are the 3 departments or services you believe are untouchable, and where would you look to make cuts first?
As far as untouchable, I don't think. I mean, if you're in a bind and you're really in a bind, I don't think untouchable is an option. I know that there are some that should come before others, but if you've got to make cuts and there are cuts that can be made, you've got to make them. It's a hard decision, but you've just got to do it. I think that looking for overstaffing, looking for, I know there's a lot of places whenever we went over the 25-26 fiscal budget, I think that there were a lot of places that they kind of had some just, if we can afford it kind of deals in that budget. And maybe those things have to get cut, in the middle of the year to make ends meet. Um, and that, each department head is able to distribute their own money as it, as they see fit. It's not the commissioners that distribute the money. The commissioners are just the ones that say, "Here's our budget. Here's what we have to work with." But yeah, I don't think any particular department is untouchable at all.
Okay. The sad part about the whole budget process is y'all are like the state government in terms of the governor. You got y'all are all elected, right? But y'all have the sheriff, you have judges,
Mm-hmm.
you have district attorney, you have county attorney, and they all give their budgets to y'all, and y'all gotta come
Right.
up with the tax rate and stuff for it. Just like in the if you did not know that in the state government, the Democrats back in 1876 made it to where the governor had his little fiefdom, but then they had to come up with the budgets for the agriculture, for the land commissioner, and it just kept going, just to keep the senior executive from having too much power.
Right.
That's what they did.
Right.
So you can blame it on them if you want, but that's exactly how it transpired.
Right.
I know my politics. I know my civics. Okay, but so everyone's fair game when it comes to budget cuts.
Everyone's fair game when it comes to budget cuts.
Mr. District Attorney, we need some type of a cut.
If you're in a budget and in a bind and it has to happen, it has to happen.
We have to come together as a team.
Yep.
Okay. So with the effective tax rate, okay. Will you commit to no new revenue tax rate?
I can't say I can commit to that without better knowledge of where we're at. I know that what we had, the biggest reason I say that is because the taxes were cut so much previously, which is why they proposed such a high increase this past year.
Have they reached an equilibrium where everything should be good to go now?
I think it's pretty close. I don't know if it's quite there yet.
Okay.
I know we're in a deficit, and that was one of the things that I've argued about. My definition of a deficit is different than other people's definition of a deficit. But in my opinion, whenever your money that is coming in is less than your money that is going out, that's a deficit.
So how do you overcome that deficit without raising taxes?
Without raising taxes, proper budgeting. You have to look into the budget, and you have to make sure that everything is absolutely necessary. Once I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan, and he talks about the debt snowball. You aggressively pay down those big debts, and then you can roll that over. What you have been paying into that one debt. Once that's paid off, you roll that over into the next. Government may not work like that, as far as I know, but that's one of the things that I think we really need to get to is we need to make sure that our deficit is wiped out, and then start planning from that point.
Okay.
Can't really plan for anything whenever you're so far in the hole.
Right, that's true. If y'all have any questions for Justin while we're still on here, you're more than welcome to write some questions in the chat for us. One thing you can do to help with taxes is to bring additional sales tax and property tax revenue in.
Right.
Yeah. So what role should the Commissioners Court play in attracting said new businesses to Coryell County to diversify the tax base and reduce the burden on homeowners?
I think that, and I know that there's a lot of, things that the Commissioners Court can and can't do as far as that's concerned. I know that a commissioner has the authority to enter into a contract, with depending on what's going on. But if a new business, let's say a big chain comes in, they can go to the Commissioners Court and they can request, well, I don't want to pay local taxes for X number of years.
380 agreement.
Right. I don't think that we have done much like that in the recent past, but I know that if you look at some of those things, that would be it would be okay to do that in some instances because, again, long-term planning, if you skip out on local taxes for a couple of years, but you get a new business that employs hundreds of people and, later on down the road, you're getting all that tax money, that's not a bad deal. But if you're looking at somewhere, I've also heard horror stories from, companies come in and they say, I don't want to pay taxes for 5 years. And they do all their business in 5 years and then they pack up and they're gone.
That's a chance you take, yeah.
Yeah. So you've got to really look into it and make sure that it's going to be a long-term staple and it's going to be a good solution. But as far as not raising the tax rate, yeah, we can bring new businesses in.
I know you have to contend with Gatesville, because they're a city.
Right.
So really anything you say wouldn't pertain to Gatesville city limits itself.
Yeah. And that's another thing is...
Except build everything outside the city limit. I was joking.
No, but you can let some of the, I don't know if SpaceX actually is in McGregor proper.
I couldn't tell you.
But yeah,
I'm sure there are people out there who can tell you that.
Yeah.
Some good, some bad.
Yeah. But, I've heard that SpaceX did have...
If you are watching right now and if SpaceX is a part of Coryell County, text it into us, chat it into us so we can have an answer for that right now.
Yeah, well, I know at least some launch pads from SpaceX are in Coryell County. They are not in, a city municipality. They are in the county of Coryell. And I do feel like I'm pretty sure that they got some sort of a tax abatement when they came in. But again, look how many people SpaceX employs.
Yeah.
So.
Then where do they spend their tax dollar, or their paychecks?
Right.
When they're off.
Yeah.
They come to Gatesville or Oglesby or McGregor. But that's
mostly McGregor. But
McGregor's McClellan County, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's right. They still come over to us.
Mm-hmm.
So I know the county that used to have an EDB, right? Economic Development
Yes.
Board. They don't anymore.
Correct.
Should that be revived?
Maybe with the right people. I don't know. I think economic development is necessary. And again, I live in Gatesville, so I speak mostly from that perspective. But I know I've talked to some people that have gone to, we have the Chamber of Commerce in Gatesville, which is kind of along the same lines there, that's to promote business growth, things like that. But economic development, I think, would be a good thing to have as a source of information. And one of the issues that I have heard from some of the people that I've talked to is, some of the older generation that say, well, we have this great plan and we want to do X, Y, Z. And then while that is good for attracting certain individuals, it's not like a broad spectrum, One of the things that I had talked to somebody about was they were wanting to introduce some things that would attract younger people. And that didn't go over very well at the meeting because you have
a very, very small town.
Yes.
And
it's mostly a retirement community.
Yeah. And prison.
Yeah. And inmates. Yeah.
They can't come to those facilities.
Right.
If you were able to bring in a type of company, what kind of company would you like to try to attract to Coryell County?
In the Gatesville area specifically, I know there's a lot of...
Oh, you can put it over by Copper's Cove, too.
Right.
We're not ashamed. We'll take anything. We just scored a V8 clinic here, so we'll take anything these days.
Yeah, And if you look at the
no
VA,
chicken joints or pizza joints, okay, or car washes.
I wouldn't mind some more chicken in Gatesville, but
we got plenty of them. We got plenty of them.
No, and if you look at the VA clinic, you have other businesses that get attracted from that initial plant,
right?
That bring in more people, and the more business that you have, the higher your tax base is, because you've got more people moving closer to get a job at a new place. As far as a business that I would like to see, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. Maybe, we've got.
Don't say Whataburger.
I would love a Whataburger in Gatesville, but
I could tell you a story one time. Oh my goodness, yeah. But yeah, y'all are the only county seat that doesn't have a Whataburger around here. Because Waco, Belton, Lampasas has one.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know if Hamilton has one. But Copper's Cove has one. We're good. But, when we got ours in 2012, it'd been since the Gulf War. You were probably a little kid back then in 91 when everything up to close and left.
91 was before me.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm 93.
Yeah. So when the Gulf War happened, like 90% of the small businesses, service level businesses, upped and disappeared.
Yeah.
And that hurt Copper's Cove a lot.
Yeah.
So we've been rebuilding ever since. So it'd be nice to have some stuff come up to Gatesville also.
Yeah.
You got that Southern Brew.
Yeah.
And a Starbucks. Yeah.
Well, and Gatesville is a small enough community that there's a lot of niche. We have to drive to Waco or Temple or Killeen for a lot of things, and there's a lot of niche business models where people could slot right in, and it would still be a local business, because we like the small town feel. I like the small town feel of Gatesville, and there's a way that you can grow but still have that, I lived in College Station. College Station was the biggest small town that I've ever been to. So maybe not quite to that extent, but I think there's definitely room for growth while still keeping your roots.
Okay. So law enforcement support is, how do you plan to balance the budget needs of the Coryell County Sheriff's Department, or Sheriff's Office, I'm sorry, and the jail with other countywide infrastructure needs?
As far as that goes, you have to make sure that your maintenance is being done for the sheriff's department or sheriff's office. You've got to make sure that everything is staying on track, because whenever they have something go down, usually that is a pretty large expense in the budget. Cars that have to be, patrol cars have to be outfitted. So making sure that all that stuff is regularly maintained is a big part of that. Again, interdepartmentally, for the county, you need to look at it as a commissioner. You need to look at it from a top-down perspective, whereas everybody needs what they need, but you've only got so much money to distribute to each department. So I mean that's something that whenever you look into the budget, I think it'll be pretty clear, where you can cut and where you can't.
Well, do you know what the life cycle of a sheriff's department's vehicle is?
I think it depends on the vehicle, because I know, I think patrol cars, or, a patrol car for a patrol officer is going to be more than, somebody that works for the sheriff's department, that, like a detective. A detective's not going to go out nearly as much as a patrolman will. And if you're looking at something like that, it's going to vary. But I'm sure that statistically there's probably an average out there. I think it's in the 2-year range, where the patrol specifically needs to be. But like I know at the last commissioner's court, we have constable that came up, and in the last budget he had said, I can make my vehicle last through the rest of the year. And then at the last commissioner's court, he said, I don't think I can make my vehicle last through the rest of the year. Wow. So, and I think what he was looking at was along the lines of $50,000. That's a big hit whenever
it's pretty cheap too.
That's pretty cheap. That's not bad.
I think the average patrol car goes for over $100,000.
Yeah, I think he said after it was outfitted and everything, it'd be somewhere along the 70. Yeah. But still, that's much lower, and it honestly is probably lower than it's going to be, if we wait to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the things you need to make sure that if you are putting something off, can it be put off?
Yeah. And y'all are mandated by law to maintain that jail.
Right.
Both
unfunded mandate.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, y'all are, the county is a subdivision of the state, no matter what. So, they just approved our podcast, the Coryell County Republican Women. So the people on that Facebook page are going to get the tail end of it, but that's all right. We'll send it to them again. But it's unfunded mandates are we hate that because the state can tell the county no matter what, you're going to do this because you're technically part of the state.
Right.
And you're like, 10 bags full, sir. Got it.
Yeah.
Mr. Governor. And we will execute. And then you got to come and tell us taxpayers that we were told this and we need to fund it.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless if we like it or not. And that sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
But being a leader, we expect that of you. And you got to be willing to make those hard decisions.
Right.
And if you got to take a tax, if you got like, hey, we're going to take this to the voters for a tax rate, you might have to do that.
Right.
I'd rather y'all take and tell us that we would like y'all to raise your tax rate instead of me giving like, hey, you know what? I'm going to raise this to the maximum level.
Right.
Stop there.
Yeah.
And then instead of that 1/10 of a cent more to take it to the voters, because what are you afraid of the voters?
Right.
And it's like if you sell it good enough, it'll pass. Because you'll have people like, you know what? I don't want that tax increase, but the way they told us that we need it and they made the cuts to go with that, maybe we can make that happen.
Right.
But don't do it every single year.
Right. Right. Well, I think that getting out and getting information distributed to the voters, to the people, to the public, I think that is paramount in the way that the local government should work. You should be out there making sure that everyone is informed about what's going on. Especially if they're voting on an issue, and like you say, if you're voting, most people are not going to want to vote to raise the tax rate. But again, I truly believe, and maybe I'm young and naive, but I think that if you inform people and you give people the resources and you tell them this is where lay it all out, make a fair argument on what needs to be done and where you're at, and then ask them for input. Talk to the people, ask them how, if you don't want to raise taxes, what's your idea? How do you think we should do this?
That's cool about being able to communicate with your constituents and stuff, whether it be like town halls or coffees or fish fries or whatever you do. Would you be willing to do that with people in Precinct 4?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You have a 4-year term, yeah.
Commissioners are 4-year.
4-year term. I was thinking about when I just left college, it was 6.
Oh,
you forget how to run for office. On a regular recurring basis, meet with people, make yourself available at all times anyway.
Right. Well, and email and phone, but yeah, having some sort of a meeting. And one of the things I was talking to somebody at the fire department about the other day was, you know, precinct 4 covers, it runs north and south of the county. And we were talking about, you could have, alternate weeks, but, on this, set aside a day of the week to go meet with people in the precinct. And, this day I'll be in Turnersville, and then next week I'll be in Jonesboro, and next week I'll be in Gatesville, and next week I'll be in Cove, and that way you're kind of getting the whole spectrum, and you can have people coming from, different parts of your precinct.
4 runs all the way from the
Excuse me.
north tip of Coryell County to the south tip of Coryell County?
Yeah, it goes all the way up. There is a portion of Valley Mills that is in precinct 4.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's a long drive.
Yeah, and it runs all the way down to the southern part of Copper's Cove.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot of drive time. How will you work with City of Copper's Cove and neighboring precincts to improve shared services such as emergency response and water management?
So again, that goes back to relationships. You've got to be able to have good relationships with like city council, so that you know what their plans are and you can integrate yourself into the plans that they're making for the city. In which case, I think it doesn't become an issue. You don't run into roadblocks with, well, we can't afford this. If you pool your resources together and you work as a team, I don't think that's really an issue in trying to decide, what goes where.
Since you do presently go to city council meetings, if you're elected, are you going to continue to visit the different city councils?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. This is not an election only kind of deal. I totally intend to be going to the meetings in the different cities, Cove and Gatesville specifically.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that is paramount, is maintaining relationships with the people in city government, so that you're able to integrate seamlessly into what their plans are.
Okay. Let's see. Transparency. What steps will you take to make the Commissioner's Court proceedings more accessible and transparent to residents who cannot attend midday meetings in Gatesville?
Yeah, 9 a.m. You can look at moving those time slots from in the morning to in the evenings. I think the biggest thing that I think will help out is putting recording equipment in the Commissioner's Court. And again, I've stated it more than once. I will technically better my business will put up that hardware, and I will install it myself if we have to get that done. And it'll be no cost to the taxpayer, because that is absolutely essential to be able to get information out, and so that people are able to see and hear properly what goes on in the Commissioner's Court meetings.
Okay. So what specific fresh perspective or professional background do you bring that distinguishes your approach from previous administration of the precinct?
Well, number one, not to be rude, but I'm younger by far. I have a different view. Now, my parents were older. My parents were the same age as most of my friends' grandparents. So I was raised by an older generation. And I think that's part of kind of what sets me apart. I'm not like a whole lot of people in my, I had a lot of people that I went to school with that reached out to me, and they were like, hey, how do I get involved with this kind of stuff? Like, you're all of a sudden you're in this political sphere. Like, how do I get involved in that? How do I make a difference in that? And that's really essential, is making sure that, because honestly, the average age in Coryell County, I believe, is 32, which I'm 33. Mm-hmm. So that's right where I'm at. But on the flip side of that, not a lot of people my age get involved in politics. They don't want to deal with it. But yeah, a fresh perspective, as someone who is younger, not particularly set in my ways. I am very open-minded, and I will listen to what anybody has to say. And I am also not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. If you have an idea and it's better than my idea, I'm not too proud to say that's a great idea. We should probably do that instead. Um, one of the comments that one of the voters that I talked to said was, "There's too much male dog syndrome in the current commissioner's court." Whereas uh, I've got to make a little change to everything just to put my little stamp on there, just to mark it, just so I can say I did that. And I don't have that. I am not for me. I am for the community. What the community wants and what is best for the community is always going to come first, whether that detrimentally affect me or not. So,
Well, in the Army, it says before you can become a great leader, you got to be a great follower.
mm-hmm.
Okay, I remember. Yeah, that's very wise stuff to remember. So, in terms of economic development, there's been a lot about data centers, and
Yes.
I know you're an IT person,
Mm-hmm.
so you should know a little bit about the environment where data centers come in,
Right.
About cooling and stuff like that. And do you have an opinion about data centers and if they should be part of our county or without stipulations if they do come?
I don't think that we have the resources to support it. Water is a big thing that I'm almost tinfoil hat when it comes to theories about water. But Texas is not a water rich state. Coryell County, we get our water from Belton. And with the way that things are currently going, I think that water shortages are going to be an issue in the very near future. Definitely within my lifetime. I have a friend that works, I believe, in Bay City at a nuclear power plant down there, and he was telling me that there was this little town of like 800 or so residents. Well, they had this data center that got essentially forced upon their community. That was near where my friend works at this nuclear reactor. He said since that data center has gone in, they are having trouble at the nuclear power plant getting the water to cool the nuclear reactor properly. So
that's a concern of a lot of people.
Yeah, that's a massive. If you have a nuclear issue, that's going to be a way bigger problem than not being able to get your data center money. But but yeah, I don't think that Coryell County has the resources for any data centers at this point. And until we can come up with a solution for that, I don't think that we should approve any coming in.
I think that's Miss Butler, isn't it?
It is. Looks like it.
So, Tiffany, if you're on there, if that is you on there on our live chat, do you have a question that you would like to ask Justin before we wrap everything up for this afternoon? We'll give her a few seconds and stuff.
Okay.
You said you're going to have town halls and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any meet and greets you're going to be part of besides on the 2nd of May and the 12th of May?
I am planning on probably, I don't have an exact date yet, either mid or late April. I'm planning to do like a coffee with a candidate at the Green Rooster in Gatesville.
Okay.
To where I'll be there at the Green Rooster, and you can come by and get a cup of coffee. Nikki there is great, and I've already talked to her. She's said that it's okay for me to come in and do that. So that way, if anybody wants to talk to me, has any questions for me, they can see me and ask me whatever they need to while I'm there.
Yeah, and I'm about to do my my Coppers Cove Conservative Club for the 14th of April.
Okay.
At Giovanni's, and it gives you a chance to get some people down there. For Coppers Cove area also.
Gotcha.
So you're welcome to come to. And I'm going to send an invite to to the other three, and plus the one guy that's running for county judge.
Yep,
Mr.
Rob.
Harwood. Yeah. All right. So we didn't get a question. Okay, well, that's cool. So just tell everyone, reintroduce yourself, and tell people what you stand for, and to actually come vote for you.
Yeah, I am Justin Smith. I'm running for Coryell County Commissioner, Precinct 4. I think that we are in need of some change, and hopefully I can be the change that we need. And I would very much appreciate it if you would come out and support me. Runoffs do not tend to draw nearly as many people as primaries, but they are just as important. So if you are listening and if you want to support me, that's the best way to do it. Come out and give me your vote.
And the early vote is 18 to 22nd of May.
Yep.
And election day is the 26th of May.
Yep.
All right. Thank y'all very much for tuning in this afternoon with our interview with Justin Smith. And thank y'all very much. Give me if you want to listen to me during the day, I'm at 6:30 in the morning to 7 in the morning, Monday through Friday. Not on Good Friday. I'm taking that day off, and then we won't. We had that conversation just a minute ago.
While we were here.
We won't let her hear what I just said. And then Monday through Friday at 12 to 1, I've got the JP8 report that's on this channel also. Hit the follow button, and whenever I go live, you'll get notified that I'm actually doing this. And I would really appreciate it because I have a good deal of Republican politics in this. I'm in y'all's ball field with y'all. Okay, keep y'all in Major League Baseball area.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then but yeah, thank you very much for tuning in this afternoon, and I will catch you on the flip side. This is James Pearson, JP8 report. I'm out.